Thank you, Madam Chair, and Senator Capito for holding this hearing. And thank you to all of you for your work every day and for being here. Dr. Valco, you've been to New Hampshire. You know what a challenge we've had in my state of dealing with the opioid epidemic. 2022 was the worst year for overdose deaths since 2017 in our state. I understand that in your testimony you discussed the important work of the HEAL initiative. Can you talk about what's being done to address vaccinating individuals against substance use disorders and what other promising medications you're seeing?
Yes, thanks very much. And indeed, the funds from the HEAL initiative have enabled us on the one thing, for example, to expand very much the medication development pipeline, and that includes development and research on vaccines and monoclonal antibodies. So there is ongoing research on different strategies to develop vaccines that are targeting fentanyl, oxycodone, heroin, or multiple drugs at the same time. In parallel, we are investing also significant amount of resources to get monoclonal antibodies because those will be able to deliver higher titers. These interventions are targeted, the monoclonal antibodies, to help prevent and reverse overdoses from fentanyl as well as drugs, with other drugs. In terms of investments, we have a whole pipeline that goes from repurposing of medications that may be useful to result in better outcomes for the treatment of opioid use disorders, as well as completely novel targets that will be able to help people that are addicted not just to opioids, but to multiple substances. That is, they go at the basis of the molecular mechanisms linked with addiction. Also, an area that I think extraordinarily exciting is that of the utilization of neuromodulation, by which we can actually strengthen or weaken certain circuits or hubs in the brain that are found to be associated with addictive behaviors. And many of the developments that have enabled us to go increasingly more precisely are part of the BRAIN initiative, which is another very brain fundamental.
How about methamphetamines?
Methamphetamine, we don't have any medications that have been approved by the FDA. So it is a major priority for us. What things have me very excited, currently we are doing clinical trials, phase 1 and for monoclonal antibodies against methamphetamine because we don't have anything to reverse an overdose. But we're also working on vaccines for methamphetamine. We are also doing research in terms of clinical trials taking advantage of medications that, when combined, have already shown to be beneficial in reducing craving and withdrawal. So this is an area that requires, again, investment of research and partnerships with industry so that we can bring these developments and translate them into the clinic.
And are we talking about 5 years, 10 years, beyond that in terms of having something that we think is going to actually be marketable?
I would actually like to say that there are some lower hanging fruits, like the repurposing of medications, where I would hope that we could have them in the clinic if the FDA approves the indications, say within 5 years. For the issue of monoclonal antibodies or vaccines, this is a completely new adventure, and there is no antecedent of approval by the FDA of vaccines or monoclonal, which is likely, again, to result in a longer trajectory to get them from the research, where now they are in humans, some of these studies, into the clinic. That I predict is going to be longer lasting. But there's also an area where we are investing in, and that is the use of devices. And that enables us to translate products much faster because the level of safety that the FDA requires is much lower. So we are investing on multiple roads to get more rapid and then also in the long term in things that can be transformative.
Well, thank you. Very much appreciate your work. Dr. Tabak, I'd like to switch to another illness. Senator Collins and I have been, we chair the Diabetes Caucus in the Senate, and we've been looking at how we can continue to support the research to address diabetes. And I understand that right now we have beta cell and stem cell derived islet replacement therapies that are actually showing promise for cures. My daughter told me she had been to a conference where she met a man who had benefited from that therapy. He had been diabetes-free for 3 years. And can you talk about what NIH is doing to support that and any challenges? I understand also that FDA has been an obstacle in getting approvals. Can you speak to that and what we need to see from FDA in order to see this research actually bear fruit?
We don't view them as being an obstacle, but it's certainly.
That's my term. You don't have to
But
use
certainly we need to partner with them.
Thank you.
The challenges are to protect the newly transplanted islet cells, regardless of what their origins were, from attack from the human immune system. And so we're using different approaches. For example, we're encapsulating them as a barrier. We're also trying to genetically engineer the islet cells so that they're not recognized as being foreign. These are the types of approaches that will take things to the next level. But as you point out, the findings are very, very promising.
So that we could actually see a cure in the foreseeable future for diabetes.
The results are very promising.
That's okay. You don't have to repeat that. I can use that. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Schatz.
Scientists and their hedging.